Good afternoon. I'm going to talk a little bit about Matthew 24, and I'm going to relate it to this question. Are we living in the end times? Is the coronavirus a sign that we are living in the end times? Are we actually in the tribulation? Is the apocalypse just around the corner? Is Jesus about to return? However we choose, or whatever term we choose to use, another one we use sometimes is the rapture. Is it a time for the rapture? Is the rapture about to occur? Whatever term we use to designate in our mind that Judgment Day is on its way, that things are coming, is that what's going on here with the coronavirus? Should we be expecting now, the rise of the Antichrist, all of those things that come along with it? I'm going to just talk about that for just a minute. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus talks about wars, rumors of wars. He talks about nation against nation. He talks about earthquakes and famines in various places. He talks about all these different things that are going on. And then in verse 8, this is what he says: all these are but the beginning of the birth pains. The beginning of the birth pains. So when we think about the coronavirus, and we're thinking about the beginning of the birth pains, and that's where I believe we are. And this is my reasoning, because when I get over into the book of Revelation, and I read and I study there, and I study out what some of the judgments that's going to be taking place there, that God is using many, many times to bring people back to Him. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the judgment, is so that He gives people's attention and they come back. And if you look in Revelation, and if you know me very well at all, you know I've said this before. If you look in Revelation, you not only do you see the judgment, but you see revival along with it. So there's some judgments that come from God, and then it'll say something in Revelations like, and then I saw every tongue, tribe, and nation, and they were all blessing and praising the Lord. So there's great judgment in Revelation, but there's also great revival. Now here, when I look at those judgments, those things are really, really, really severe. And, we don't really know. We get a lot of information about the coronavirus, but as far as what we really know about the coronavirus, we probably won't know for maybe a couple more years what the actual death rate was, how many people were truly affected, how deadly it was. All of those things we're probably not going to know for 2 or 3 more years. But this is what I would say, and I don't want to downplay it, because it is truly, truly been devastating. It is devastating our economy right now. It is devastating New York and that tri-state area up there, and my heart goes out to those people. And anyone who has been affected by it, our prayers are with you, and we thank you. For those who are working, doctors, nurses, EMTs, all of you guys who are working and gals who are working, we applaud you. We thank you. We thank God for you and what you're doing. But when I look at the judgments in Revelation, I think this is still a little bit small in comparison to what we're going to see in later times when it really starts happening. So that gets us back to this key verse, Matthew 24, verse 8, where Jesus says, all of these are but the beginning of the birth pains. So, the beginning of the birth pains. So, where we are right now, in my opinion, is we're at the beginning of the birth pains. We're at the start of things. And I believe we have been for a long time now at the start. So, what then, if the coronavirus hasn't just all of a sudden just, sort of catapulted us into the apocalypse, or catapulted us into the tribulation, or catapulted us into the severe countdown to Armageddon, or however you want to think about that, then what is the purpose of it? Why are we dealing with it, and what does it mean in the time frame of things? So this is what I believe it means, and this is just my belief, and I hope you can follow along with me, because what I believe that the New Testament teaches us is this. The New Testament teaches us that there will be signs of the time, and then there will be more specific signs of the time. And the general signs of the time, like plagues and earthquakes and volcanoes, tidal waves, famines, those kind of general things are in place, or maybe a better way to say that is God allows those things to take place to get our attention, to remind us that He is going to return. So Jesus said this also in Matthew chapter 24. He said, no man knows when the Father will return. No one knows the date of all of this, only the Father who is in heaven. And then Jesus says, He gives this illustration. He says, if the homeowner had known when the thief was coming, he would have made preparations, obviously. So none of us as homeowners know when our house might be robbed. So we make preparations all the time. When we leave our house, we lock the doors. We buy alarm systems. We set alarms. Some of us arm ourselves in our homes. Some of us buy dogs to bark and warn us and protect our homes. We do all kinds of things to protect our homes on a regular basis from a thief. That's what we do. So Jesus is making that. So catch all this together. This is the beginning of the birth pains. And this whole thing about if you had known when the thief was coming, you would have been prepared. But no one knows when the thief is coming. So the best thing to do when you're preparing for a thief is to always be prepared. To always stay vigilant. So when we get something like the coronavirus, what it is that God is trying to teach us in that is this. He's trying to teach us that yes, there is a timetable. Yes, Jesus is returning. Yes, there will be a tribulation. Yes, judgment is coming. So you need to be vigilant every day, like a good homeowner. You need to be vigilant every day and be prepared every day for that time. And when we have something like this worldwide crisis, it is a real, definite reminder to all of us, to each and every one of us, to get our spiritual houses in order. He will come, but we won't know the time, but we better be ready. This reminds us, it breaks up our everyday life that we can so easily get into, and it puts a timetable on our life and on the return of Christ and on all of that, and it's just a good reminder to us to, hey, get your spiritual house in order. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope that helps some. Is the coronavirus the mark? It could be the mark of Jesus' return. It could be that this is how it all works out. Could not be, but it is most definitely a reminder to us to always be prepared. To always be prepared. So, again, I'll tell you, I hope that helps. I'm rocking our Summit Baptist t-shirt here today. Summit Baptist Church. I'm also rocking out my hat here because I haven't been able to cut my hair. This is Lance and Ashley's company, so shout out to them. Thank the world of you guys. I hope all of you have a blessed day and a blessed night. Good afternoon.